All right. Just bear with me for a moment here. I'll give everybody a minute or two to get a notification, and then we'll get into the stream then. Usually for those that don't know, when you start a stream on YouTube, it takes like a minute, maybe 30 seconds, in order for the notification to go out to the audience that might be subscribed to you. Um, but what I found ironic is the moment I pressed the live button, I got a notification that Deacon Sakari just went live as well. And literally, the second I pressed the live button is when it popped up. So that was just ironic. I believe they do theirs at like what, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 p.m. No, that's usually their schedule on how they do it over on their pages, right? But they actually lost like their main channel, right? I think like maybe 2 months ago, their main channel, what was it? Just the Sakari, I believe its name was. They had like what, 75,000 subscribers on there. And YouTube got that channel terminated, right? I don't know the ins and outs as to, what exactly happened in order for them to, get the ban like that, because what they do, well, actually, it's a little better now because now you get a warning, right? So now there's four actions they take against you, right? It used to be three of them, right? You'll get first strike, second strike, and then third strike, you're out, and then your stuff gets terminated, right? And then you have to start over. But now they give like a fourth one, which is basically the one before the first strike, and it's a warning, right? So like say if you do something that violates the guidelines, instead of giving you a strike for it, they'll give you a warning. And then if you do something else after that warning, then you'll get a strike for that, right? So I do got to give credit to YouTube that they did imply another measure to help people keep their pages. I do got to be fair and say that, because it wasn't always like that, right? It was not always that way. It used to be that you didn't even get any warning. You just get a strike, and then you have to avoid getting the two other ones, right? That's how it used to be, say like 2016 or something like that. But now they give a basically like four options, if you get what I'm saying. Um, Let me see. Excuse the background noise. I can't do anything about that. Okay, here's something I wanted to mention. The other day, I sent what's this guy? What's this guy? David Weiss, right? Flat Earth Dave. I sent over to their website, right? I went over there, and there's an option on there where you can actually like you can get in contact with their team there, and you can like schedule a time for David to come on your show, right? Which there's probably like 100 different podcasts in line to bring David onto their show. But just for the record, the other day, maybe 3 days ago, I sent a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a request, I guess we could say, for lack of better terms. You got to put in, some information, your channel name, your real name, topics, stuff like that. And then it sends over to their Gmail. And then, it'll take them a while to get back to you because, again, they probably got a list of like 100 different people on there. But, I just thought I should put that out there that I did reach out to them to see if he'd like to come on the podcast. I haven't heard back from him. But I'll keep everybody up to date with that, and we'll see where the conversation goes from there. Let me see. Hey, how you doing, Rudy? Every time Rudy's on here, he always has a new profile picture. What is that? Clouds now? I mean, I've had the same profile picture for like 4 years. Well, actually, yeah, I've had it for 4 years. And then the other day I took a new profile picture, which I have not uploaded yet. But I took a new profile picture that'll probably put up in a week or two or something like that. But that's what I got for now. Oh, and then I'm looking over at my Gmail on the side here, and I have a message here from somebody named what's this guy's name? James Lieberman, right? James Lieberman is the name of this character, and he was in my comment board, but apparently he found my email. Probably went to the description box, and he's sending me something about the concave Earth, right? I know Samuel Owen probably got summoned when I mentioned the word concave Earth because that's he's like the king of concave Earth. Inside joke, right? That dude's like, well, first of all, he claims he's Jesus Christ, but then second of all, dude is on there talking about nothing but this concave Earth, nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'll be fair with what's the cat's James or whatever I said. I'll look at what he sent me, right? I'll give the video a watch. Well, as long as it's not 3 hours long. But I'll check it out. But truly, the idea of a concave Earth is very easy to disprove because, ironically, we don't have to look for the Earth curving downwards like it would on a spiritual. What's the word I'm looking for? Spherical Earth, right? A globe. But rather, we would have to look for it to slightly curve upwards. Then, if it's concave, it would have to curve upwards, right? So, ironically, we're not looking for a curve downwards, but we would have to look for a curve upwards at some point. And there's still a big problem with that, with a concave Earth idea, because wait a second. The fact is, water lays flat, right? Water will always lay flat. Like if you put it into any type of container, always find its level and remain there. It's not going to curve. It's not going to curve upwards. It's not going to curve downwards. So here's a whole nother dilemma for a concave Earth. Wouldn't the water have to convex upwards at some point, even slightly, if it's concave, right? Like again, I just don't get that. I just don't get it. And of course, to be fair, I haven't heard a whole lot of their nonsense, but I have seen some of Samuel Owen stuff over the past couple of times we brought him on the show before. So I'm familiar with some of it. But then again, Samuel Owen's not, he's not a very good speaker. But again, the idea of a concave Earth doesn't make any sense. Because again, they would have to say that water is curving upwards in some form because the Earth's concave, according to them. So if it's concave, there would be an upwards curvature of the Earth, right? Not a curvature as far as going like, down behind your view, but we'll be going, slightly up in elevation over the course of some time, right? And we just don't see that, right? You just can't show that. So basically, concave Earth is basically like a rip-off version of flat Earth is basically what the concave Earth is, right? They took some of the ideas of flat Earth and then they just took that and just called it concave Earth and then added a couple other, nonsense onto it and then just call it something different. That's basically hell, it's the same thing with these free gracers, right? Free grace is basically a rip-off brand of the Catholic faith, right? They essentially teach the same thing, but they just took a couple ideas from it and then put a new name on it and call it a new doctrine, which is truly the same thing, right? Like, again, seriously, like, what is the difference between the Catholic Church and free gracers on YouTube? Like, what is the difference between them? Because I'm still struggling to find a difference between the two groups. They all basically, for the most part, according to what I can see, they teach the same thing. Again, we could literally name a bucket list of like 20 different topics that they all are teaching the same, right? So I mean, like, what is the difference? What I found funny, I got a comment the other day. I don't have it in front of me. I can't pull it up because it wouldn't let you hear me if I X out of the app. But there's a dude on there who was saying, well, you guys are going off, right? The Hebrew Israelites are going off because you guys teach people to repent from their sins. And the Bible doesn't teach that. I was laughing to myself. It's like, wow. So you free gracers are like, the Bible doesn't teach to repent from your sins. Well, first of all, what does the word repent means? The word repent means to turn away from something, right? To stop doing something, right? Like, I'll give an example. There's parts of the Bible where it says that God repented from doing something, meaning what? He changed his mind. He didn't do what he was previously going to do. Like, say, for instance, when God was going to bring the destruction on Nineveh, right? When you read the story of Jonah, he was going to bring that judgment on that city, but since the people repented and they were, sackcloth and turned from their unrighteousness, God decided not to bring that punishment on them. Whereas previously he was going to do it, but he decided not to. He repented from it. He changed his mind. So when it comes to sin, by you choosing to not do the same things over and over again, that's you repenting. You're changing your mind. You're not doing it again. So that's clearly in the Bible. Clearly, the teaching of turning away from doing evil things is in the Bible. I'll give you an example. Um, if you read John chapter 5 and verse 14, right? If you read the whole story, it was like a man who was blind, and then Christ, healed his blindness. But then he told him, go and don't sin anymore, at least the worst thing come upon you. Wait a second, what? He told the man, go and don't sin anymore. Because if you don't, something worse could come upon you. Wait, so that's an example of Christ telling somebody to stop sinning. And the word repent basically means to turn away from it. So Christ literally was telling them to turn away from sinning. So he's literally telling him to repent from sinning. So, I mean, again, I don't get how somebody could say that the doctrine of repentance from sin, from turning from sin, that's not in the Bible. I mean, isn't this like something that every Christian church could agree on? Well, the Catholic Church, they don't believe it, they sin, right? Because, well, as long as you're born again and believe in Jesus, there is no sin because, well, the law's done away, which that's a whole nother, false teaching that they have. Because, I mean, how the hell could the law be done away with if Christ said that he didn't come to do away with the law? Literally, Matthew the 5th chapter, read 17 and 19, right? He said, I didn't come to do away with the law or the prophets. Then he said, not one thing great or small will be done in the law until all things are fulfilled. So he clearly didn't do away with that. Anybody that says he did just doesn't know what's going on. Again, a lot of these people, you quickly find out when you start questioning, some of their views and beliefs, you find out that they don't actually believe in the Bible, right? There are a lot of talk, but they don't really know what's going on, right? They'll sit there and run their mouths, but they're, talk a lot of shit about stuff they don't really know anything about. And that's basically what most of these churches are out here, right? A lot of people there, they'll, run their mouth about, Bible this, Jesus that, but yet when you come down to the very basics, they don't even have the basics. It's, it's really funny to me, right? It's really, really laughable. Like, there's dummies on there. Like, I seen somebody earlier He put up a comment on a discussion I did with a Christian maybe a month or two ago. Yeah, maybe 2 months ago. About the topic of, was Paul a Edomite or was he an Israelite, right? And my opponent I was talking to, he was saying, well, Paul is a Roman, he's an Edomite. Then he admits, well, I don't have a verse in the Bible that says it, but the Bible doesn't say he's a Israelite. Well, then I brought up Romans 11 verse 1, which says, Paul speaking, it said, I myself am an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. So, I mean, any rational person would say, okay, well, the case is closed there. I mean, he said he is an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. So, anybody that's saying that he's like a Canaanite, an Edomite, a Moabite, or anything in between, they would clearly just be mistaken because the Bible literally says that he was a Israelite. But apparently, they want to like take the argument beyond that, right? So this individual that commented, I forget the dude's name, um, but he was saying, well, Paul, he is a Roman, and he's like a secret agent for, the Roman authorities and, nonsense like that. But, I acknowledge that nowadays it seems like it's a trend, right? Like it's a trend now among people on the internet where they like disown Apostle Paul for some reason, right? Like everybody, for whatever reason, just doesn't like Paul anymore. Right? Everybody's going around saying, well, Paul was as a false apostle, Paul was a Roman spy or something to persecute the church, or nonsense, to try to make it look like he's not really a man of God, right? That's what people out here are doing. And again, it's a really weird doctrine because it's like, you do realize if you take Paul out of the equation, then you're literally throwing like half of the New Testament away, right? Because he wrote like half of the New Testament, right? So I mean, I just don't see how I just don't get it, right? I just don't get it how everybody out here, for the most part, again, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people out here, they throw Paul away, right? Like Paul's like some type of like secret agent that's there to distort the truth. It's like, wow, really? I mean, again, if you believe that, you literally have to throw away half of the New Testament. And at that point, if you have to throw away half of the New Testament, well, why the hell would you even believe in the Bible if half of it's written by a supposed corrupt man? Like, I just don't get it. Um, hey, how's it going, Awakened Pennsylvanian? Hope you're doing well, man. I haven't seen you in a while. I believe, are you over in Mexico? I believe last time you were telling me that you were planning on going to Mexico. I don't know if you made it there yet, man. Let's see. Chris Lucas, the Protestant View. That name rings a bell. I've seen you around somewhere. Um, Said, how's everybody doing? We're doing all right. How you doing? Waking Pennsylvania said, America really, really down bad. Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, shit, you go to some of the stores out here, just like any public store, and you can see how bad, people are doing out here, man. You can see how bad, the average person out here is doing, and that's a sad thing, right? Everybody out here, here it is. There's some people in the society that can live it up every day, party their life away, and don't have to worry about a damn thing. But then most of the people out here, they got to be content with just getting a meal for the night, right? They can never do anything with their life. All they can do is work a 9 to 5, go home, go to bed, maybe play some video games for an hour or two, and then repeat the same process for another 20 some years or 30 some years, right? Again, it's sad, but that's the matrix that they made for us, right? That's the that's the world that they created for us. Chris said, I came on one of my shows before. Um, I don't think you spelled that right, man. I think you might be saying that I, as far as like IETT, came on one of your shows. I mean, maybe I came on one of your shows, man. You got to remember, I've talked to I went on like 200 different channels, right? So excuse me if I can't remember, the name of a channel. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I've seen you in the past, but you know, I can't say so because I can't remember everywhere I go. You get what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, that's cool. Uh, Johnson, how you doing, Johnson? Johnson said, Earth is round. I agree with you, Earth is round, but that doesn't. The word round. Like, let me give you an example, right? Like a dinner plate is round, right? A pizza, if you go to Domino's and open up the pizza box, the pizza as all 8 pieces put together is a circle, right? A frisbee is a circle. A car tire is a circle. Oh, and all of these are round, right? They're all round. So I agree with you. The Earth is a circle. The flat Earth model is a circle, and it is round as well, right? But a lot of people, for whatever reason, I believe, including Johnson here, have a misconception where they think like the only thing that can be round or be a circle is like a globe, but that's not true. I mean, I clearly named like what 4 or 5 things that are round or circles that are not spinning globes in outer space, right? So again, something can be round or be a circle, but that doesn't mean that it's a spinning globe in outer space, right? Let's see. Uh, yeah, I don't know about that, Johnson. I'm not sure. I call phony baloney on that one. I'd agree with you on that. Hell, even I'll be one of the first people to tell you, you can't believe everything you see on the internet, man. Right? You can't believe everything that you hear on the internet. That's what a lot of people out here have a problem with, right? Like a lot of these dudes will hear something like a conspiracy somebody made on the internet, and then they'll just run with that as if that's like the ultimate provable fact. Like I'll give you an example, right? Like if you watch some of these channels, like some of the paranormal or cryptid videos, right, where they show like so-called unidentified creatures, which a lot of those are identifiable creatures. It's just like it might be submerged in the water, so it's hard to recognize what it is, or might be deep in the woods, so it's hard to visualize them because there's so much debris in the way between the camera and the animal, right? But a vast majority of the times the um the creatures are identifiable. Sometimes they're not. I'll say that. Sometimes there's creatures that, don't make a whole lot of sense I've seen over the years. Sure, but a lot of them are easily identifiable. But, a lot of people, use their imagination and just come up with some bullshit. Like if you read some of the comments, they'll be like, "Oh, well, this is absolutely, like some type of like rake creature or cryptid or something like that, or the sea creatures will see something like a fin out of the water or something like that, and it'll be like, oh, well, that's such and such, right? Again, it's ridiculous. It's like people out here just running their imaginations, right, not logically thinking, right? It's like it's strange, but again, I get that. A lot of people just want to believe whatever it is. Like, oh, I'll give another example. Like somebody on TikTok will go outside and they'll hear like a weird noise in the woods, and everybody in the comments will be like, "Well, that got to be like a skinwalker or some type of unidentified creature." It's like, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, couldn't it just be some type of creature that's identified, but it's hard for us to recognize the sound because we don't know every single creature off the top of the head? Like, I think that's more logical and reasonable, right? Let me get caught up on some comments here. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Johnson. I mean, whoever told you that, got to they were either joking around, trying to be funny, or that just don't know what's going on, man. Johnson's probably Rudy, but I don't know. Hey, got fat ass dogs on there. Dogs asked, he has, I got a question. How can you sin and still be saved? Well, here's the answer to the question, right? Not all sin is the same, right? Like even the Bible will tell you that there are some sins unto death, but there are not some sins unto death. Like let me give you an example, right? Like back in ancient Israel, if you were to steal something, you would have to give like double back to the person you stole from. Whereas if you were to go out and like kidnap a person, then you would be killed for that. So both of those things are sins. It's a sin to kidnap somebody and it's a sin to steal from other people. But both of those things were handled differently as far as like the punishment for it, right? So I'm showing you that different sins have different what's the word I'm looking for? Punishments for them, right? Not every sin that a person can commit is a sin unto death. That would be a misconception because I clearly gave you an example from the Old Testament. Rudy said dogs debunks himself. It's baffling. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, which dogs, for those that don't know, dogs used to be one of Perry Green's personal apostles, but then he got kicked out because he didn't want to follow Perry Green's um indoctrination and instructions that he gave to him, right? So he got kicked out of their group and now he's just is like a lonely wannabe now that he still teaches the exact same thing that he's been indoctrinated with, but he just doesn't go under Perry Green's umbrella anymore, under his authority, for lack of better terms. But again, dogs, you and Perry and all these free gracers, all of you guys live in sin. You just don't call your actions sins. Whereas those of us who are true, like us Hebrew Israelites, or even some Christian churches who acknowledge at time to time they could commit a sin, but they understand that we have to believe on Christ and live according to what He taught. But that doesn't mean that once in a while somebody's going to make a mistake, and it's a fact. The Bible says that a righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up again, right? But apparently if you're peregrine or dogs, that doesn't matter anymore. Like they don't fall at all. So apparently that verse is now not true for them. Another good, well, what is that? Romans chapter 3 verse 23, if I'm not mistaken. It says for all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory, right? All have sinned. Shit, that's probably a ghost down there. I mean, hey, look, man. Hey, look, ghost. I can, metaphorically speaking, man. We can see for you better than a damn Ziploc bag, man. Right? You're thinner than a damn Ziploc bag. I mean, you're not fooling anybody, bro. Well, shit, I didn't know at first, Rudy. But then a couple things gave it away. But yeah, again, I was able to catch on quick to that after a couple of minutes. Yo, Chris, if you want to do a discussion another day, man, we can you can reach out to me and we can do a discussion. I don't know if you have my Gmail or not. You can let me know down there. I can't do it today because I actually can't be on here for very long. But if you want to join another day, we can definitely have a conversation, a topic of your choice. Just got to let me know. Let me see. We're already to the half an hour mark. Yeah, you're right, Rudy. You know, here's what I find funny as well, right? Like, a lot of individuals that, want to talk shit and run their mouth in the comment section or on Discord or wherever it might be, everybody is all tough, in the comment board talking. But then once that link drops to join live, then nobody wants to do that. Like, I agree with Deacon Zakari. He's right on this. He's like, all the Christians are in his comment board when he does a live stream and they're all there, talking smack about why the Israelites are wrong and all that. But then when he drops a link for Christians to join, it takes like 10 minutes before somebody joins, if even that, right? Because sometimes they don't even join, right? So they'll all be down there running their mouths. But then when given an opportunity to actually join and have a conversation about the disagreement or whatever, then the vast majority of people won't take that opportunity and do it. Ghost is a good example of that. Like, I'll give an example, right? Like, Ghost wanted me the other day because I know that guy from Discord, right? He's like a troll on Discord, right? A simple ass peon from Discord. Um, so he's trying to invite me to a server the other day, and he wanted me. There was a couple of guys in there that had like a different view as far as like who the Israelites are today and all that, you know, and they wanted me to like do it back and forth. I was like, hey, look, I'm willing to do a live conversation on YouTube and we can have a discussion about the subject. That's fine. But I don't have 2 hours to literally send comments back and forth. Like I don't have time to do that. I have better shit to do with my time than text back and forth with like three individuals for 2 hours and profit nothing from it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody walks away with the same view, right? Like it benefits nothing. It's much more beneficial to have a actual voice to voice conversation, even if it's only 10-15 minutes. It's much more beneficial, right? But again, a lot of people don't want to do that. Now, I don't know if it's because they're scared to go on voice chat or um maybe they sound like, well, hell, I'm not going to say that, but there could be a whole number of factors involved. You know what I'm saying? Um, well, again, if they want to do the conversation, they can contact me on Discord and we can set up a conversation. I mean, if they don't want to do that, well, then that's on them. Again, like I'm not gonna bend over backwards and jump through hoops of fire with my pants soaked in gasoline, as Apostle Ramlob said in one of his streams, just to appease these, brainless, suckers, right? These zombies. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, look, if you want to do a conversation, then you hit me up and we can, do a conversation. I mean, hell, I'm doing you a favor. Say, shit, I ain't getting nothing out of it. I'm doing your ass a favor. Right? I'm giving your ass a handout. You're giving my time for free. Again, man, some of this stuff is just ironic to me, right? It's really funny. Let me just grab a drink real quick. Okay. I was just checking something real quick. Just bear with me. Okay. As I said, I'm just gonna go on. Just like Deacon would say, right? Everybody's an expert until that link is dropped, right? Everybody's a scholar and an expert until the link drops, and then they're invited to join and have a conversation, right? That's how a lot of these individuals are, right? They're all experts in the subjects of controversy until a link drops for them to join and have a talk. But then everybody is chicken shit and doesn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is with a lot of people. Some people join a chat, which those are respectable. People that do that. Even if you disagree, because most people would just chicken out and wouldn't do a conversation. Hey, how you doing, Devin? Now you haven't known me for years, Johnson. I'm a mile ahead of your ass, boy. I've been around for 8 years on this platform. Yeah, I've been around for 8 years on this platform, and trust me when I tell you, my friend. I've had dedicated trolls to me, um, much much greater than you, buddy. So you're a little flea, compared to that dude. Which Ridge knows what I'm talking about. Little inside joke between me and him. Right. I mean, shit, you compared to the trolls we dealt with in 2016, 2018, man, you're a flea, you're a speck. There's nothing deep at all, buddy. I don't even mean to be rude. I'm just saying. Hey, how you doing, LOP? Devin said he's doing good. All right, that's good. Dropped a link. Not today, man. I have limited time, so I'm not going to bring anybody on right now today. But in the near future, I'll do a stream where I open it up for people to hop on in the near future. Let's see. Manny said Shalawami TT. Yeah, how you doing, Manny? Haven't seen you around for a while, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, LP said shout out to Ridge Napper. Rudy said, I'm no longer friends with Jay. We're not acquaintances anymore. So I don't know what he's doing or what's been up to. Yeah, I don't know what happened between you two, man. You guys used to be buddies. I'm not sure what happened. But I'll leave that between you two. Let's say, for instance, right? Like Jay and Nick, they don't like each other, but I can get on a stream with both of them, like in separate times, and we can get along. Right? I can get along with Jay, and I can get along with Nick. So I would consider both of them to be um friends, even though they both go off on certain things that we disagree on, sure. But, I'll leave that disagreement up to, the two of them. I'd rather not get involved in that because it doesn't concern me. Get what I'm saying? That's my opinion on it. John said, John said, hi, everybody, and trolls. Yeah, it's funny. Yo, did y'all see the conversation I did on Jamie's stream maybe last week? I believe it was like a Monday last week or something like that. I went on for like 30 minutes. Man, I wreck those dudes. Well, you do it respectable, right? You just make it look like, they don't really know what's going on, but you don't have to make it like, where like metaphorically, fists are flying or something like that. You can have a friendly, respectable back and forth, but you can put up points that they have no, response to. So the audience listening sees that these guys don't really have the answers for them. And that's very easy to do with Jamie's, stream. Very easy. I mean, the dudes that go around there are, they're soft. They're very easy to see through. They're like the most simplest form of Christianity around. Shit, half of them don't even know John 3:16 off of the top of the dome without looking it up. So, I mean, you're not up against anything special when you go over there. Yeah, really. How many accounts you got, man? Right, you still might have an alt account in there. I mean, how many accounts y'all have? Shit, I only have one account. But it must be hard to manage all that. Devin said, "Who's Jamie?" I'm talking about a YouTube channel called Babble Off. Right, Babble Off is the name of the channel. It's run by a guy named Jamie. Which he's gay, right? Right now he's trying to live a straight life, but in his past he's been gay. And they openly accept that over there. Like that's openly accepted over on that channel. Hey, Ridge is here. What's up, Ridge? How you doing, Ridge? Yeah, me and Ridge been talking behind the scenes, like on Discord. And we're gonna try to do a stream in the near future together. He wanted to talk about, I believe he said like the controversy with YouTube or something like that. So soon we're gonna do that. I can't give a day right now because the schedule's tight right now, a lot going on, but very soon. Bridge said, I'm doing good, man. How about you? I'm surviving, as I say. I could be doing better, but I'm you got to take it a day at a time, man. That's how you got to look at life, man. Let's see. Yo, Ridge, are you still in Kentucky, man? I'm not sure your time difference between the two of us. I mean, I know he's told me before, but I can't remember that. Ridge said, yeah, man, besides just the censorship, we will with the Mr. Beast types of YouTube have turned it into whoever has the most money to invest grows and not us average creators. Well, I personally like Mr. Beast, but I get what you're saying, right? Like, the problem is like Mr. Beast content, that's not the problem, but the problem comes in when regular people that, don't have money try to copycat, right? That's what the problem is. Like, say for instance, like MrBeast will do a video about, like, just give a random example, like stay in the circle for a week and you get 500,000. Then 20 other channels take the same idea and copy it off him, right? So MrBeast isn't the problem, but the copycats who steal his content and try to do it for money, those people are what the problem is. Hell, like even with flat Earth, there's people out there that put the word flat Earth in their video. Like even in 2016, 2017, this was big. Like they would literally steal it and do videos about it just to get views on the video because back then it was a very popular topic on the internet, right? So flat Earth is a good example. Flat Earth isn't wrong or bad, but people stole it way back when it was very popular to try to get money and views on their video. Right, that's a good example to give. Yeah, like I mean, you really can't hate on MrBeast. Like literally yesterday, he put up a video. What was it? He built 100 homes for people like in India and um, Jamaica and stuff like that, and he gave it to these 100 families in need. These families were living in like little shelters, right? Literally had rainfall coming through the roof. Literally didn't have walls on the shelter. And then they went down there and built these people homes. Again, I don't get why people hate him for that. Like he literally in 2 weeks of his life, he does more good for the world than the average person will do in their whole entire lifetime. Right? People will hate on him just because of his name. Like, oh, the beast, the beast. Well, wait, in Revelation, the beast is bad. It's like, you're thinking stupid. Somebody who actually watched his stuff for years before he was even popular. I know the backstory behind that. He actually got that from when he used to play like video games when he was like 12. That's the random name that it gave him. So that's why he took that and just, used that name. That's his backstory he gave in an interview. So again, I'm just pointing out the facts here. People can get mad if they want, but they're just not living in real life. Like shit, a lot of these people talking shit, here it is, the man's spending millions of dollars to help people in need and change their lives. But yet the people talking shit wouldn't even they would have a they wouldn't even give a homeless man $10 to get a damn turkey sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they got no, they have no right to talk shit. They have no right. Bridge said I'm in Louisiana. It's 5:50 where I'm at. Oh, where I'm at, it's 6:50, so you're only an hour behind. Devin said, "What do you know about the Freemasons?" Ironically enough, I live near a Freemasons lodge, like literally 100 feet from where I'm at. There's a Freemasons lodge there. But what do I know about the Freemasons? Well, most of the Freemasons, they just go there for something fun to do on the weekends. It's not until you get high up in the lodge, like, the 30s or whatever, until you find out the true meaning that they actually like worship the devil and all that. But the people, like the average, 65-year-old that joins the Masons, it's just like a man's group to get together on Sunday and Saturdays. It's not that they're going there to practice rituals or something like that. The top guys are doing that, sure, but the average simpleton that gets in there, it's just something fun to do, like a man's club, right? But once you get to the higher points, then they start, reveal some of the hidden truths, such as that they worship the devil. But the average person doesn't know that. Rudy said, and about Jamie, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still gay, just not acting it out like Antoine. Yeah, again, I can't speak on it, but it's most likely he still is like that behind the scenes. But again, I don't know. Ridge said, Jake the a-hole is a good flat earth guy. I've been watching him for years. He used to be called Flat Earth a-hole is what his channel used to be called. He says some bullshit too, like some nonsense. Like say for instance, I will be like, well, everybody is a shill, right? If somebody disagrees with me on a topic, that means that they are a shill. I was like, wow, that's retarded. So it's because somebody disagrees with you on one or two topics, that means that they're literally like getting paid. I mean, come on, that's retarded. Like, say for instance, this guy Russian Viz, right? RV Truth is what his channel used to be called, but now he had to rebrand to They Live Truth is the name of the new channel. He'll be on there talking about, oh, well, David Weiss and Jeranism, they're fake flat earthers are getting paid by people to trick people. Like, wait a second, what the hell? Wait a second. We know these guys, literally, like Mark Sargent, David Weiss, Jeranism, their face is literally out there to give you their name. We know where they're at, what country they're in. We know all this about them. But apparently they're the fakes, but you Russian vid, you're literally sitting there. Nobody knows your name. Nobody has seen your face. Nobody knows anything about you, but you're the real person. But these people who we know all the information about, they're somehow fake, though. I mean, come on. And wait a second, aren't they doing 100 times more work for the flat Earth community and for the world than you're doing? I mean, come on. You put up what, a 5-minute video every 3 months? Like, seriously? But yeah, Jaren, David Weiss, and Mark, they're literally doing conferences and meetups around the world for people. Literally, David's putting out like videos every other day. Jeranism's doing 10-hour live streams. Like, how again are these people fake? It makes no sense. I mean, they clearly seem like the real deal for any logical thinking person. Like, nothing about those guys is fake. Sure, I disagree with them on some topics they teach, but that doesn't mean that they're being paid by somebody. That is retarded to say that. That's retarded. It makes no sense. Like, wouldn't it be more logical to say that um that Russian Vids himself is a paid actor? Like, that's more logical to say compared to these 3 other people that are known around the world. Everybody knows about these guys, and they're teaching much more greater um than Russian Vids is doing. Like, I just don't get it. I just honestly don't get it. Yeah, I'd have to disagree with you on that, Rudy. That's not true. I mean, again, you can say that if you want, but that's not. You're just saying that, but you have no evidence of that. Yeah, yeah, Rich. I seen that. I seen that. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Just because somebody might have a name that somehow means that they're like evil. I mean, come on, it's retarded. It's retarded. That would be as stupid as saying, if you're going to say somebody having a certain name is evil, well, by that logic, is somebody else, like, literally, I've seen people that have the name Jesus, right? Like, literally, at Walmart, I saw someone named Jesus there, right? So that by that logic, if somebody having the name Beast is evil, well, somebody having the name Jesus means that they're holy then, just because the fact they have the name Jesus. Like, I mean, come on, this is like, this is retarded. Or I used to have a buddy back when I was like 14. I had a friend named Angel, right? I had a friend of mine who was named Angel. So does that automatically mean that he was holy because his name was Angel? No, it doesn't mean that. I mean, come on, this is retarded. People just don't think. Hey, how you doing, Joe? Here, bear with me for just 1 second here. Y'all can put up some comments. I just got to check something real quick. All right, sorry about that. I just had to grab something. Yeah, the brightness turned up. Let me turn that down. Just read over the chat. Joel was joking and he said, "You still voting for Biden after watching that debate, ETT?" Well, first of all, I never said. Well, actually, I don't vote at all because, unlike you, I'm smart enough to know that that voting doesn't count, right? It's not a election, it is a selection, right? The elite of the world, they select who they want to rule, but they give you a illusion, right? Jill and the rest of the gullible masses, they give you a illusion of choice so you can pick who you want. But really behind the scenes, they're the ones pulling the strings on who is going to get in there. Like, I mean, seriously, you think that it's up to chance who is going to become the leader of the most powerful nation on earth? I mean, come on, you can't be a truther and believe that. That just makes no sense. Well, all these other nations are controlled and wicked, but America, oh, it's a free country. You can pick your leaders, and it's all up to chance of the vote of the people. I mean, come on, you believe that, man? You gotta, wake up out of your sleep. Pull that wool off of your eyes that they put over it, buddy. Yeah, so both Trump and Biden. Which, fun fact, by the way, a few months ago, I actually went to the area that Biden grew up at. Right, like I forget the name of I forget the name of the town that it was, but when I was there, they had like there was literally was like a highway there named after Biden. I think it was like Biden Expressway or something like that. I believe it's over in Pennsylvania. But I went there maybe 3 months ago, something like that. Forget his name off the top of the head though. But he was born and raised there. But yeah, both Trump and Biden, they're both professional actors, as Sareg would say. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Jamie Russell? And now people are going to get confused because I talked about Jamie earlier, but there's two Jamies. The gay Jamie was the one that runs Babble Off channel, but there's a second Jamie, which this Jamie's cool. Jamie Russell. I believe he's a 7 Day Adventist, right? He's cool. I've talked to him before. I don't have too much, beef with him. He's cool. Um, oh, and by the way, Babble Off just went live right now. Like literally, he went live right this minute. Maybe some of you can go join him because he has an open panel. Let me even get a link real quick for you. All right, all right. Let me put this here real quick. All right. Just for fun, I just put a link in the chat, right in the live comments. That's over to his channel. So if you want to go talk to him, he's doing an open panel stream over there, which I'm going to be closing my stream in just a couple minutes here. Let me just answer this text just real quick. Y'all can type and I'll address it in a minute. But yeah, hey, look, I already gave those dudes a run for my money the other day. But if y'all want to go hop on over with Jamie, then y'all can go with, join them in their conversation, right? Join them in their gay conversation. Alfred Agee said, "Yo, ETT, how about Romans 4:5?" Off the top of the head, I'm not familiar with Romans 4:5, and I can't pull it up on the app because it will shut off my stream because my phone is sensitive. So I'll have to look at that another time, but I'll remember to check that out. Oh, and Jamie Russell, just so you know, when I was talking about Jamie, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Babble Off. He's also named Jamie. Just to clarify, when I was talking about Jamie earlier, that's not you, buddy. Just so you know. Right. I see why you could get confused there, but that's a totally different person. Right. He put up a comment and said, Jamie said, I am, might be lame. My ex girlfriend said that to me when I was 14, but I didn't ban you. Right, right. But now you know I'm talking about somebody completely different with your same name. Ridge asked if I like Robert Kennedy Jr. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't keep up with the politics or any of that, so I don't see like, the whole debates or, what they're claiming that they'll do if they get in office. You know what I'm saying? What good they'll do for the people, supposedly. So I can't say, um, anything good or bad. Um, but again, just like how I said about Trump and Biden, I believe all the people that try to get in office and run for presidency are all controlled behind the scenes. I mean, you don't become the leader of the world's most powerful nation by blind chance. I mean, that doesn't happen. A lot of people just don't realize that somehow. Already dealt with Ghost. Man, I don't know how many accounts some of these dudes have, man, right? It sounds like, every other day, these guys make like a fake account to go comment on people's videos. It's a disgrace if you think about it. Rudy said, "Seems like me and LOP were banned from Jamie's live." Well, I mean, why don't you guys just join from one of your 20 different accounts? I mean, they won't know it's you. Just go under a different name and different icon. That could work. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Alfred Gee. A lot of people just go around and slander people for no reason. And you know what? What I find ironic is the Bible says that you're not supposed to, it is a sin to be a false witness on people. It is a sin to lie on people. Like literally, the Bible says that. I believe that's Exodus, I want to say, I believe it's 21, I could be mistaken. But it says that it's a sin to raise a false report about a person or a group. But these guys, these so-called Christian people, they go around and literally lie on people. It's like you can't do that. You guys are literally sinning by lying on people. And again, whatever the accusation is, it could be a million different things, right? Like say for instance, somebody might say that another person robbed from them when they know they didn't, just to try to get them in trouble, right? If you're literally lying on people like that, that's not cool to do. And God's not okay with that. God's not okay with somebody going around lying. Like you think you're like some of these free gracers, right? Like they think that they're just gonna cakewalk into the pearly gates of heaven while they go around and condemn everybody to hell. Like say for instance, what's this cat? Jack Smack 77. I call him Jack Crack because he smokes a lot of crack, right? But he goes around and condemns everybody to hell, but he thinks he's going to just walk through the pearly gates of heaven just because he said a few magic words and claims he believes in Jesus. I mean, I hate to burst your bubble, Jack, but God doesn't accept that. You're not just going to go around and condemn everybody else to hell forever, but then because you said a couple magic words, you're automatically going to heaven. I mean, that's not true. It's retarded. I forget, put up Romans 4, verse 5. It says, but to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. Well, I'll address that, because a lot of free gracers bring that up to say, well, see, you don't got to do any works because our belief alone is sealed our righteousness. Well, here's the thing. There's people who were righteous in the Bible who ended up not being righteous at the end of their life. A great example of this is King Saul from the Old Testament. At first, wasn't Saul the first king of Israel, if my memory serves me correct? Right, so King Saul, being the first king of Israel, he was a very righteous man at the beginning of his life. But then towards the end, when we start seeing David, he actually went after and hunted David down to try to kill him, right? And he ended up being a wicked man. Matter of fact, Samuel, when he got rose from the dead, his spirit came up and talked to King Saul and told him, the Lord has now departed from you. You are an unrighteous man. So at the end of his life, he wasn't righteous anymore. So that's an example of how you can be righteous, but then become not righteous anymore. So to answer that scripture, that's not saying that you don't have to do any righteous things, and then just because you believe you're going to go to heaven because you're righteous now. It's like, no, there's still something involved, because some people who are righteous, that doesn't guarantee they're going to heaven, because you can become unrighteous, just as I showed the example with Saul. He was righteous, then he became unrighteous. Or I'll give you an example. Let's see. When the Israelites went to Jericho, what was the woman's name? I believe it was Ruth, right? She delivered the two spies, and then when they sacked the city, they spared her and her family because she helped the spies escape. So she was of another nation. She wasn't an Israelite, but they helped her in that instance because she showed them, compassion when they needed it. So in that instance, that doesn't mean that she became a Israelite and was now righteous after that. They spared her because she showed them the same, the help that they needed when they secretly entered the city, right? She helped them escape out her window, right? So they showed the same respect back as to spare her and her family when they sacked the city. So in that instance, they considered her as righteous, so they didn't, kill her and her household. But that doesn't mean that she now got saved as far as like end time salvation, because that's a whole nother misconception that people believe. Like everybody out here in these churches, by vast majority, goes around like, "Oh, I'm saved, I'm saved." Like, well, what the hell have you been saved from? I mean, you can't say you've been saved from hell because you never went there, apparently, right? You never went there, so how could you be saved from it? But that's a whole different lesson. I'm not going to get off onto that. Yeah, I already know Rudy. I know who that is. I'd have to check that out, Alfred. I haven't seen that. Johnston, I teach what the Bible says. If you got a problem with that, you got a problem with the Bible, man. Like you know what? Like, why do we got to make this about what ETT said? Why don't we make it about what the Bible says? Like, I don't get that. Like, say for instance, if it's any other topic, they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, the Bible says that." But if it's this one topic, oh, and that's that's CT saying that, right? Like if we're talking about polygamy, well, we can acknowledge, oh, okay, well, Bible says that. But if it's anything else, like this one topic, which I won't mention, but if it's that, then all of a sudden everybody loses their mind and cannot rationally think. But that's indoctrination, is what that is. So Johnson, aka Ghost, he's under indoctrination. No, he can't view the world any different from what the US government has indoctrinated him to believe. Yeah, Ridge, you got my permission to remove Ghost when he makes fake accounts. You have my permission to do so. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. Me and Ridge, we've known each other for years and years, like literally 8 years, right? So we're good. Oh damn, how many channels does this guy have? Damn. Um, let's see. LP said LP said Jamie can rot in hell. Oh man. Hey, might not want to say that in his chat, man. Now they might go psycho on you. Right, might go psycho on you. Shit, he'll send dimples after you, man. Inside joke. Um, let's see. Who banned Jamie banned you from his open panel? I don't get why people would ban from an open panel. I mean, of course, with the exception of people that are like dedicated trolls or something like that. That can be understandable. You know what I found funny? There was a channel maybe 3 months ago I tried to join. Like, how I go to random live streams and try to get into the conversation so I get content and for interesting conversation. I forget the name of this channel, but what I found funny, this is why I'm bringing it up. I literally go on, I click the link, so I'm backstage. They say, okay, well, we don't know him. Can you put the camera on so we see you? I put the camera on, and then they're like, well, wait, he doesn't match up with his icon picture, with his hat. Then I literally go in the other room, I grab my hat so they see I'm the same person. Then they're still like, well, we don't know. Like, we don't know if he's safe to bring on. Then I tell them, okay, well, I'll wait for like 10 minutes so you see I'm not just wasting your time. So I wait for 10, 15, 20 minutes. They still don't let me on. Then I say, okay, well, if you're that paranoid, why don't you just put up a screen overlay so you can talk to me for a few minutes to find out that I'm who I say I am, so we can have a conversation. I mean, how is that like so difficult? It's like pressing two buttons. Now, is your 300-pound ass, not capable of doing that? I mean, seriously, it's amazing to me, but it just shows you like a lot of these people are paranoid. Like I was joking on my stream, it's like, shit, it's more difficult to get through airport security than it is to join. Or excuse me, let me phrase myself. It's less difficult to get through airport security than it is to join this guy's panel, right? There's literally more hoops you got to jump through to join this guy's open panel live stream than the amount of hoops you got to go through to get through airport security. Like, I mean, seriously, it's amazing to me, but it shows a lot of people out here are just too paranoid. It gets to a point when it doesn't make sense anymore. Like with Russian vids is a good example, right? Like, oh, everything in the world is fake. Like literally, if they turn on the TV and watch like local news, and they see it, there was like a local robbery at the grocery store, and then they see in the background there's like a sale, you get 33% off on cereal or something like that. They'll be like, oh, well, that proves it's all free Masonic and all staged to scare people. It's like, wow, really? A local market getting robbed for a few $100s? That's all staged? Like, who again is this supposed to scare? I mean, you know, you guys do realize out of a world of 8 billion people, real things happen, right? Like real acts of violence, real wars happen, real robberies happen, real murders happen. And why these things are bad, that doesn't mean that they don't happen. Like again, to pretend that that's not true is just retarded. It makes no sense. But people don't think. Shit, like all these guys think everything's fake. It's like, well, shit, you're gonna find out that it's real when some of the stuff happens to you or a city near you. You're gonna find out. Then you can still sit there and say everything is fake. Sound like a dummy then. Rich, what's your thoughts on Chris from MrBeast? Um, Chris was actually like, say 3 years ago, he was a cool dude, right? He was one of the cool characters. Um, but notice he has not been in much of the videos they upload. He's been faded out by like a new character. I believe the guy's name is Mac. They're trying to like switch it around. So Chris, he's probably not going to be in him for much longer because the whole thing with him. But here's what people get mistaken. They think like Mr. Beast wanted that drama. It's like, no, if you watch one of the streams they did back when this first happened, you could tell the atmosphere was very weird. Like they were all weirded out to be around Chris, and they were sad that their friend, did this transition. Like literally, you can go watch it and see that and everybody in the comments, all these normal people were like, wow, that's a very awkward stream. You could tell you could tell something was wrong, right? And everybody knew it had to do with Chris. So again, everybody just pretends like Mr. Beast was with that, like there's a agenda being pushed. But literally, if you just take a few minutes and listen to what's being talked about, you'll see that this is not what they want. In fact, they're disappointed with what happened. And if you watch the modern videos, such as the ones coming out within the last couple months, this dude, Chris, is not really in them much because they're starting to fade him out for somebody else. Again, a lot of just people, like, again, a lot of people think there's the agenda behind everything when there's not, right? Like, literally, real things happen in our world. Like, it's amazing to me why I have to point this out. Again, I believe the earth is flat, I believe in conspiracies, but even I'm smart enough to realize that real things happen in this world. And it's amazing how I have to point that out to people. It's like, you're not intelligent enough to figure out that real things happen. I mean, seriously, I mean, you can't be this stupid. Like, if they hear of any natural disaster, everybody's like, oh, it's all man made. It's like, so even if there's some man made ones, it's like, so you're saying there's never any real, like, earthquakes or anything or tornadoes? It's like none of that ever naturally happens. I mean, come on. I think that Chris was a cool guy. Right? I liked him. Thought he was a cool character in their videos. I'll say that, Rich. Yeah, it's funny, Rudy. Yo, did you guys know that mine and Shrek actually did a debate when um he was like buddies with Russian vids, and he was actually a moderator on this channel a few years ago. But then they got into like an argument about like hell and its location because Shrek doesn't believe that there's actually a hell. He holds a position I hold, that it's like a condition on Earth. So RV Truth, after knowing them for a couple years, he took his wrench away due to their argument about, the disagreement on hell and all that. But a few years back, he actually was on a debate with Russian vids. Like, it was a 2 versus 2. He was with Russian vids, and they were up against like two different Globers. I believe it's still on YouTube. I'd have to look for it though. But that was an interesting conversation. I'm just checking something real quick. Yo, does anybody check what Babylon is talking about? Or what are those dummies talking about over there today? Let me take a guess. I imagine, just like usual, it's going to be nothing related to the Bible and just related to like Jamie's life experience or the other people on the chat, right? Just random stories and shit. Shit, that's my best guess based on past experience over there. Like seriously, if you go over there, half of them couldn't even quote John 3:16 off the top of the head. It's like, seriously? And these are like supposedly Christian truthers. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Jamie, aka Babble On, those guys over there are just, it's a clown show, right? That's what Jamie Babble On, that's what his show is, right? I believe his channel was it Babble On, Babble Off, something like that. But those dudes, it's just a clown show, right? It's just a damn circus over there. Got gays, you got trannies, um, you got seals over there, right? People identifying themselves as damn sea lions and shit. I mean, come on, this is amazing to me, but that's what's going on over there. As I said, man, I can't speak for all of Christianity, of course, but a lot of these like little Christian groups that pop up out of the blue, a lot of these are a damn embarrassment for Christianity, right? And again, you can't talk about all of them. You can't lump them all together as one, of course, but a lot of these little groups popping up, they're really a embarrassment. Like shit, there's literally people going around that are confused if God's actually a male or female or not. Like there's literally people like I saw the other day, um and Nick, he was showing me a video. There's like a pastor who was pro rainbow. I got to use the word rainbow because I can't keep using the certain word on here because of YouTube. But you know what rainbow means in this context. But the rainbow people, he was saying, well, there are God's people, right? God is okay with that. Matter of fact, even Lazarus was rainbow, right? When he went to John 11, right, when Lazarus rose up out of the tomb and came out, he took the part where it said Lazarus came out, and he said, well, look, that's him like coming out as a gay person. He was coming out as a rainbow person when it said that Lazarus came out. It's like, wow, that is amazing to me. Like how can it's like how do people come up with this? It's like, seriously, like how do people believe this nonsense? Oh, when Lazarus came out of the tomb, it actually meant he came out as a rainbow person. I mean, come on, this is amazing. It's amazing to me, the double standard and the bending over backwards, or as I would call it, the half-assery that people are using when they read the Bible. And it's really a damn shame if you think about it. It's a damn shame. As far as about, people being confused if God's a man or a woman, well, what about Exodus 15:3? It says, for the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. That doesn't seem like a female there. That doesn't seem like a she-male there. Like God's genderless, some people claim, right? Or that there's a heavenly mother involved. It's like, well, when you read it, we never see any reference of any type of, supreme, like female being, right? That's like equal of God. We don't see that in the Bible. People are just making things up at this point. Yeah, I agree with you, Jamie. But as I said, I'm talking about a different Jamie. I don't know if you're not able to hear me or something. I'm talking about a rainbow person named Jamie. He has your same name, but I said his channel name is called Babble Off. You two are totally different people. I've said you, right, Jamie Russell. We're cool, right? Me and you've had conversations before. We're pretty cool. But I'm talking about this other dude named Jamie. But yeah, I agree with Jamie Russell here. He said my panels aren't people who agree with. I like it that way. Yeah, I agree with you. I bring people on that I don't agree with because it makes a good conversation. And that's how you grow. By having conversation with people that might view something differently from you. That's overall good for the entire what is it, congregation or conversation, or panel, whatever word you want to use. It makes it good for everybody listening in general when you have opposing views that can reason together respectfully at times. Rudy said, Babylon is playing, they're playing a Jesus rap. A Jesus rap. Well, I'll tell you one, the Jesus rap that I actually found good. If you look up ERB Jesus versus Satan, that one was actually pretty good. Like, it's not from the official ERB channel, but it's like a fan made one. That one was pretty good, I gotta say. Oh yeah, that's another good one, Jamie Russell. I've seen that. He said, with the last Trump is clearly proving Trump is the second coming. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. I've seen people say that, right? That when he uses the word Trump in the Bible, it's actually talking about like Donald Trump. But truly, I mean, everyone with common sense and logic will be like, okay, well, yeah, when it uses the word Trump there in context, it's talking about the last day trumpets, like the trumpets that sound at the end, right? I'm not going to go into a breakdown on that now, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. Clearly, that's what it's talking about at the last Trump. It's not talking about Donald Trump, but that's a cleverly devised a fable, but that's a good one. Oh man, that shows that people just don't know what's going on. Or I'll give you another one. I saw somebody, I don't know if they were like an atheist or somebody just trying to crack a joke or if they were serious. They said, "Well, who's the smallest person in the Bible?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, I don't know because it doesn't really tell us." Then they're like, "What about the soldier who slept on his watch?" I laughed at that. I was thinking, well, that's a stupid joke. But they were like, yeah, again, it had to be a damn joke for somebody's just trying to be funny. But clearly, it shows that they have a misunderstanding. It's like when it says he slept on his watch, that's talking about he slept when he was trying to keep a watch on something. Like say for instance, if it was keeping watch over a tomb or over gold or over the king's front door or whatever, and he slept on it. Well, he was supposed to be keeping watch, so he slept on his watch, right? He slept on his job. That's clearly what it means. But that was a good joke, though. I got to give him credit. Oh, I get what you're saying, Jamie. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Rich. I hear what you're saying. But again, you're not going to get into the White House unless you're part of them. That's just how it is, man. Again, some might have better intentions than others, sure, but there's definitely a hand behind the scenes taking part in it. I mean, clearly that's what the case is. Bear with me for a second. Jamie said, "What is the burning bush weed joke?" I mean, I'm sure I've seen people say that, but I've seen them. What is it? The ERB. They made fun of that in what was it? Santa Claus versus Moses. Have you ever saw that one? Where they made fun of him because they actually used Snoop Dogg to play Moses in there, right? So they made fun of him, the burning bush from the Bible, and they made fun of it, like call it like weed. It's pretty funny. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Chris. Right, keep things in context. Right, a lot of people like they don't want to read a context. They'll just say, "Oh, well, here's the word here," and the discussion. It's like, well, why don't we keep it in context? Like, I'll give you an example of keeping it in context. Like, what is it? Acts chapter, what is it? Acts chapter 2, verse 21 and 22. It says that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Then the next verse says, "You men of Israel, hear these words." So if we keep it in context, the whosoever was talking to the men of Israel. But if you just cherry pick words, you'll say, "Oh, well, it says whosoever." So that means like literally every person in the world. But no, if you keep it in context, then it said, "You men of Israel, hear these words." So the audience was the men of Israel. But that's a simple example of how people take it out of context. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Jamie Russell said you can't call it White House anymore. That is racist. Yeah, like literally, I know they put the rainbow colors on the White House, right? Like they put a projection on to put the colors of the pride on the White House. It's like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, you're right. You can't call it that anymore. You may as well call it the non-binary house is what you may as well call the White House now. Right? You can't call it a shit. You might not even be able to call it the house anymore because that maybe it doesn't identify as a house. I mean, come on, this is the bullshit that's going on today, man. I see some of these memes out here, like people all like in the '60s. They were asked like, "What will the year 2000 look like?" Then theorizing, oh, flying cars, and teleportation, and shit like that, right? Oh, free Wi-Fi for everybody, or shit like that. And here we are in 2024. Got literally niggers out here walking around identifying themselves as literal, horses and shit. I mean, come on, it's amazing. Literally got um like literally 5-year olds out here can choose if they want to like change their gender and all that. Got literally grown men out here running around wearing sneakers. Oh, what is that called? Oh, give me a second. What's that shoe called? Oh shit, I can't think of it off the top of the head, right? Literally out here wearing, women's shoes and shit, right? Pink shirts, long flowing hair. It's amazing to me. But again, this is what's going on right now today. And again, if you say anything about it, you are the bad guy. But hey, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So the wicked have control over the earth. That's why all these bad things are happening, because the wicked is ruling over the world. Right? May as well call the White House now the non-binary house. Rudy said, "I haven't seen the Satan versus Jesus rap. I only watched ERB when I was like 10." Well, yeah, man, you should check that stuff out. I've been watching ERB since I was like probably since I was like 11, 12 years old. So we're talking almost 10 years. We'll say 9 years. We'll say 9 years. But yeah, man, they got some good stuff, man. Can't beat that. It's free music.
Definitely some of the most best, I should say, the best rap music I've seen around. Got to give credit to ERB. What are these guys? Epic Lloyd and Nice Peter, right? Those are the two guys that run it, right? Epic Lloyd and Nice Peter. Yeah, that's funny, Chris. Rich said, Rich said, yeah, I saw some guy who identified as a dragon. I think I know what you're talking about. I believe I've seen that as well. No, it's crazy. Literally got people out here doing body modifications, right? Like there's dudes out there that literally cut their nose off, right, to look like some type of lizard or something, right? Split their tongue into, dye their eyes black, like literally the entire eye black. Again, look it up. It's true. There's people out there doing that. I mean, it's crazy. People literally willing to, you know, pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these unneeded medical procedures just to look like an animal or something. Or these people getting plastic surgery. Shit, didn't Mark Cuban recently get plastic surgery? Mark Cuban from what was it, Shark Tank? He's been in a whole lot of stuff. I believe he owns like his own football group as well, right? His own team. Couldn't say the name of the team off the top of the head, but I know he owns his own football team. Jamie said Skechers. Yeah, there's another one, right? Like a little, little kid shoes brand. I can't think of off the top of the head. It was around like maybe 15 years ago. I think it was Sprinkle Toes or something like that. So something along those lines, right? It's like a girl's shoe, right? We got little grown men running around those type of shoes. It's amazing to me. Yo, Jay's listening. How you doing, Jay? Jamie said, "Fear God and keep His commandments." Yeah, exactly. That's what. Hey, the Bible says that's the whole duty of man, right? To fear God and live by His commandments, right? Obey Him and live by what He said. Hey, there's even part of the Bible where Jesus said, "You are my friends as long as you keep my commandments, right? As long as you continue in what I told you." Again, we see this distinction all throughout the Bible. Matter of fact, Baruch, right? Baruch chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "This is the book about the laws of God, and all those that don't keep them shall die." You can read it, Baruch chapter 4, verse 1. I had somebody mentioned Crocs. I have like two pairs of Crocs. So I only own three pairs of shoes. I have two pairs of Crocs, and I have a pair of like steel toe work boots. Those are the free shoes I own. I would consider myself a minimalist, right? So I only own a few possessions. I have some prepping stuff, but I separate that. Like consumable goods is different from like, inanimate objects that, just sit there on the shelf or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hold, like say for instance, I have a tripod. I wouldn't consider a pack of crackers to be considered an item that I own compared to the tripod, right? Because the crackers, you eat that and then you throw the pack away and then it's gone. You don't got to worry about it, right? Whereas a tripod, if you didn't want that, you have to sell it, right? Or not just going to throw that away. It's worth money. So that's how I, what's the word I'm looking for? Label possessions, if that makes sense. Yeah, you're right, Rudy. These rainbow people all stir their brains. Yeah, you're right, Rudy. You guessed right. I mentioned that before. Yeah. I'm not sure about that one, Jamie. I'm only like 21, so if you're talking about before the year 2000, then I wouldn't be familiar with it. A lot of people I've seen, they'll be like, where they would not listen to like an older, pastor or somebody compared to like, a young, 20 some year old like in Sakari or, a person like me. But the truth is, when you read the Bible, it doesn't say that you have to be a certain age in order to have a proper understanding. Matter of fact, if you read Psalms chapter 39, verse 5, it says, "For my age is as nothing before the Lord. As every man in his greatest estate, it's altogether vanity." Right, but the point is, it said, "My age is as nothing before God." Even Christ, if you read Job, what is that? Luke chapter 2, right? If you read Luke chapter 2, even Christ went into the temple and was talking with the professors and the people who knew the law, right, and knew all of these things, much older than him. Even they were amazed at his understanding and his wisdom when he was 12, right? He's a great influence to look up to. It's very knowledgeable. That's a good example. Even Christ, when he was young, he was out teaching. Yeah, Jamie Russell, I believe you're talking about John 15:13, right? That verse there about his friends. I know what you're talking about. You said, what's the next verse no one ever quotes? I'm not sure, man. Hell, I'll give you one that I don't hear people talk about. I'll give you one. Everybody talks about Romans chapter 6, verse what is that? Verse 14. It says, "For we are not under the law, but we are under grace." But guess what? The next verse people don't talk about, verse 15. It says, "What then? Shall we sin because we're not under the law, but under grace? God forbid." So they use verse 14 to say, "Hey, look, we're not under the law anymore, just grace. It's all just grace." But then the verse under it says, "What then? Shall we continue in sin because we're under God's grace?" No, we shouldn't. Nobody likes that verse because it debunks the lies. It shows that they're wrong. So they don't want to address it. Rich said, "How many wives can a person have biblically?" Biblically, well, it doesn't give us a limit as to how many you can have. Now, it does talk about you have to have, like, say, for instance, if you cannot support having free wives, then you shouldn't be going out and getting free wives because you need to be able to financially support them and the children. But there are rich men, such as Solomon, which had 700 wives and 300 concubines, right? Or maybe I got the number mixed up, but it was 1,000, right? He had wives and concubines, right? 1,000 of them, right? So was he going off? Was he in sin? No, he wasn't in sin because a man's allowed to have many wives, but the limitation is you have to be able to support those women. The average man's not going to have the money to do that. Now, if you are able to do it, if you have the money, like say for instance, if somebody's a multimillionaire, can they afford to take care of free women and their children? Yes. That wouldn't be wrong if you went out and did that according to the Bible. But not everybody's in that state. Matter of fact, today a lot of men are not even in the state to even have one wife. Going off of how this economy is, right? It's hard enough to provide for yourself. So some men out here might even want to just remain single. And Paul talked about that in 1 Corinthians 7, right? His advice was, hey, look, me speaking as a man, my advice is a man should not touch a woman. But then he said, but, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife and then let every, wife have a husband. But he said in his advice, hell, I wouldn't even, advise a man to get a woman. That's what Paul said. So again, there are many different aspects to look at it. It might be wise to be single, might be wise to have one wife. Some instances, a man can have multiple. It's just everybody's situation is different, so you got to go case by case basis. Like, say, for instance, right now, I'd rather be single. There's benefits to come with, having a girl, but there's also benefits with, not having that. Many different things, but that's a whole different video there. Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one, right? He said, "You are my friends if you do whatever I command you." Right. I mentioned that earlier. I believe that's the one under what you just brought up earlier, right? John chapter 15, verse 13. I believe that's verse 14. That he said, "You are my friends if you continue whatever I taught you." Believe that's what it is. But yeah, they don't want to address that one. It's like, wait, whatever I command you. Wait, I thought you just had to believe it and that's it. You're just going to cherry walk into heaven because you said a few magic words and believe Jesus lived and died and that's it. It's like, well, wait, you said if you are my friends, if you continue in whatever I command you. Well, wait, now there's commandments involved? I thought you just got to say you believe and that's it, according to free gracers. So that's a good cut. Got to give Jamie Russell credit on that. That's a good one. Jamie said, I have Crocs. Yeah, they're a good shoe. Matter of fact, when I was in Florida, I went to like a closing sale for like one of these shoe stores, and I actually got a good deal. I got 2 pairs of Crocs. I believe are like size 13 shoe. That's what I wear. But I got 2 pairs of Crocs, brand new, for $40. So that's $20 each. I mean, you can't beat that. $20 each. I mean, shit, if I go to the store now and try to get one pair, it's like $50, $60 for one pair of Crocs. At least when I went to the official Croc store, that's what it was. But Walmart's no different. I went there and they're like $50, maybe $10 cheaper than the official Croc store, but not by much. Yeah, Jamie, I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure that brand. Let me just get caught up on the chat real quick. Yeah, Jamie, a lot of these guys, like, they deliberately on purpose leave certain parts out because they don't like what it says. They want it to be the way they want it. And then if you confront them on it, they'll just say, well, you're adding to it and throw a pussy fit. You know what I'm saying? Or a pissy fit. That's what people out here do, especially free gracers. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, free grace is a very bad theology. It's a very bad theology. I mean, it's very basic. Like, as I said, that's a worldwide famous belief. There are literally hundreds of millions of people in the world who believe in free grace. Because free grace is simply what the Catholic Church teaches. They just name it something different. Like, again, it's literally the same thing. They just named it something different, just for like a gimmick. That's basically what it is in a nutshell, right? They took the same doctrine and just called it something else, and then they just run with it. That's in a nutshell. That's basically what free grace is. It's like, I've made fun of it before, but I've called it a knockoff version, right? Like when you go to the store, you see the off-brand cereals. That's basically what free grace is. It's an off-brand version of the Catholic religion. So, you just gotta believe, right? Say a sinner's prayer, believe in sweet Jesus, and then that's it, right? There's no law anymore. Jesus did away with all that, apparently. And you can't sin as long as you believe you're good. I mean, I mean, anybody with a brain can read the Bible and see it. There's clearly requirements. Like, I mean, even atheists know this. You know, what I find funny, just to prove my point, Perry Green went on to Pine Creek's. I call him Pine Creep, right? He went on Pine Creep's YouTube channel. And, you know, Pine Creep, he was amazed at Perry Green's doctrine. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Like, wow, you know, you're a Christian, but you go around and do these evil things, but you just don't call it sin. I mean, wow, you know, I never seen something like this. You know, so Pine Creep, you know, he was amazed to hear what Perry Green was saying. It was really funny. I've watched it probably like 5 times. It's so funny to watch. You know, but you can find it. I believe Perry even put it on his page. If you go to his videos and scroll down, you'll see it. Let's see. Jill said that he wasn't even. Now get this, everybody. Jill said that he's not doing any live streams until Donald Trump gets into office. But like he is so paranoid about this upcoming election that he's not doing any live streams. He's not joining any live streams nor hosting any until Trump gets in office. Right? That's how paranoid, you know, he is. And he told me that maybe 2 weeks ago in the comments. He made a reference to it that, you know, he's so paranoid about what could happen that he's not going to be doing anything until his President Trump gets into office. I just find that funny. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Jamie Russell. Oh man. Right, dude not gonna change his damn, you know, socks and underwear until Trump gets into office. Alfred Gee said, "ETT, you seen those people praying to Trump?" If it's recent, I haven't seen it, but I've seen people over the years like worship Trump. Like say for instance, I remember in 2016, you know, when Donald Trump was running for office, there was Christians going around saying that Donald Trump is going to be the savior of America. Like God is going to set up Trump to save the United States. Like people literally thought that Donald Trump was sent from Jesus himself as a savior. Like literally, you can even find a video still on YouTube to this very day about people talking about how Trump is like some type of like savior sent by God for the world. Again, literally, they've been on there talking about that. There's still people on there today talking about it. You know, it's you know, again, people are very easy to trick, right? It's very easy to trick a regular average person. Rudy said, "When are you going to do an open panel show?" Probably maybe this coming week. But again, it's difficult for me with my circumstances, you know. So I do what I can with what I got, you know. But it's not always easy to be able to do it. You get what I'm saying? So soon, that's all I can say. Hopefully, this coming week. Yeah, sorry, Jamie, I can't bring anybody on today. It was actually only supposed to go for an hour. So I do got to wrap up in a couple of minutes. Seriously, though. Um, but I do thank everybody for stopping by. It definitely was a good, you know, interaction with the chat here. A lot of good questions or comments coming through. Um, we'll definitely go up to at least 2 hours for my OCD. Rudy said Jill is a Trumpy. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, shit, you know, I don't want to be bear false witness, but I wouldn't even be surprised if Jill believed that Trump was a savior. I wouldn't even be surprised if that dude's, you know, wearing, you know, damn Donald Trump underwear and t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Shit, outside that dude's home is probably flying, you know, a Trump 2024 banner outside on the flagpole. Shit, I'd be willing to bet money on that. I mean, seriously. I haven't seen, a Christian Donald Trump diehard like Jill for a long ass time, man. Like, I mean, I'm being for real here. It's been a long ass time since I've seen a diehard for Trump that claims to be a Christian. Jill is takes the cake. Oh, and I'm not even trying to be funny here. I'm being dead serious. Let me see real quick. I'm just looking at something in the back. Bear with me. Okay. Somebody on here named the Christian News Wet Network said, "Hello, hey, how you doing?" Let's see. But here's something else we can talk about, right? Like, literally on the internet, there are, I would argue, around the world there are 100,000 different little Christian groups, or like different little radio shows or panels that daily stream, talk about Bible or stuff like that. There's easily 100,000 of them around the entire world if we put everywhere together, right? But the truth is, only a couple of those are teaching the truth, right? Most of those are teaching lies, right? A lot of people, well, most radio shows or, panel shows, they teach lies on purpose because it brings in the views, it brings in that cash, right? And that's what they look for. Whereas IETT, you know, I speak what it is, right? I say it what it is. And if somebody got a problem with that, then you just don't watch. I mean, it's just that simple. Again, I don't do what I do for views, right? I've been on this platform for 8 years. I've never made a penny off of anybody, but somehow I'm the fraud though. Like Perry Green will be like, "Oh, well, ETT is the fraud." Well, how the hell am I the fraud though? I make no money off of anything. I sell people nothing. But your dumb ass is over here selling literally Pornhub Bible T-shirts and $70 shower curtains from Dollar General that say it's not a sin for me. Literally sell underwear that says it's not a sin for me. Like, I mean, seriously. But he's not a fraud though, right? So I'm a fraud, but he's not a fraud for selling Dollar Tree shower curtains for $75. I mean, come on, it's stupid. But again, people are just willfully ignorant, at this point. That's sad, but that's what's going on out here. Rudy said, Chris Protestant, on the other hand, acknowledges Trump's corruption. Well, hey, we're good for him. So, have y'all seen this other channel called the Layman Seminary? Right, the Layman Cemetery. That's what I call it. The Layman's Cemetery. That's what I call his channel. Right. That's not a damn seminary. That is a cemetery. Right. Run by this dude, looking like. Well, shit. I'm not even gonna say that because it won't let me back on. But it's just funny if you watch them, especially the one they did about me. They didn't want to watch the video and listen to what I said, but instead he would just like take like an AI and just let it generate what I'm saying and then just go off of that and respond. It's like, wow, it's like you're not gonna just watch the video. I mean, come on, it's amazing to me. One other thing I want to talk about: there's this channel on YouTube called the Angry Prepper. I call him the Angry Pepper. Right, he is the Angry Pepper. Hold on a second. Hold on, I gotta put this up. Bear with me just 1 second. Oh, there you go. There you go. Angry Pepper. Let it load real quick. I'll put it on. Yeah, so this dude I watch is called the Angry Prepper. It's like this big black guy. Looks like basically a black version of Winnie the Pooh on there. right? But the angry pepper is on there, talking about, oh, well, all these other nations around the world, they're all corrupt and all evil and shouldn't be trusted. But then he'll turn around and talk about, oh, I bless America. America is such a just nation, right? America, we should all respect America. But on the other hand, he's like, on on the other hand, he's like, oh man, bear with me for a second. Hey, it's so funny. I can't even say the sentence. Oh, I haven't had a good laugh like this in a long time, man. Oh man, I can't get around that. The angry pepper. I mean, come on, it's so funny. It's hilarious. The dude's all there, right, looking like Winnie the Pooh. Damn, it's amazing to me. But the dude's on there talking about, oh, America this, America that. But then he's like, well, I'm a truther, but I'm a truther, and I acknowledge government lies. But then I'll turn around and pretend like American government doesn't lie. Right? I mean, come on. This guy is a con artist, right? Dude's on there literally trying to sell people, what, like freeze dried survival food that's supposed to last like 25 years. May I mention it's also like $35-$40 for one bag, like for one meal, right? Which is a lot of these guys are on there selling that. I got to be fair, it's not only him. It's like this other dude, the Canadian prepper, right? The Canadian pepper, we'll call him. For sure, that's not as funny as the angry pepper, though. Oh man, yeah. Hey, what's up, Galapagos? Happy to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Galapagos said, talk about the angry pepper. He said that, yeah, that guy is all over the place, laughing my ass off. Yeah, yeah, that dude. Again, it's really funny to me, right? It's really funny. The dude's like will contradict himself. Like, on one minute he's like, oh, well, government, we can't trust the government. But then in the next minute he'll be like, well, we should all go along with the local regulations and all that. Wait a second. It's like, well, weren't you just talking about how that you can't trust them and that they're not for our good? But then you turn around and say, well, yeah, we should all just, go by what they say on everything. I mean, come on, it's like, you know, people like that should be more intelligent. Oh, and you know what? I believe this guy was actually on the documentary. What is it? I believe it's on History Channel. It's called The Doomsday Preppers. Everybody knows that TV show. This guy was on one of those episodes, literally showing his secrets, showing his stashes, and shit like that. This guy literally went on TV and went on the Doomsday Preppers program for one of the episodes, showing off all this shit. But then he'll be on the internet talking about, well, you shouldn't show everybody, the stuff you got. But yet the dude literally went on national TV and did that. I mean, come on, this is funny. Galapagos said he's like that Richie from Boston shilling out that gold trading in giant metals that you could get for cheap at your local food bank. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I know what you're talking about. No, but yeah, it's a gimmick, is what these guys are running. It's a shill show, is what it is. Right? They'll talk about everybody else's shills and being paid to lie, but then they turn around and do the same thing for deals with these companies, right? They're getting paid behind the scenes to, try to sell these things to people. Galapagos said, LOL, yeah, he was on the news. Shit, was he on the news? I didn't see that. I know he went on national television for what, like a documentary or something. But shit, I didn't know he was on national news. I'll have to look that up. Galapagos said, I think he's a plant. Shit, I don't know, man. I think he's just a real person, but he definitely has a few screws loose up in the dome. Ray definitely is doing some things behind the scenes for cash. That's definitely what's going on with him. Not only him, to be fair, but there's a lot of other individuals in the survival community, such as Nate from what is it? The Canadian prepper, right? The Canadian pepper, we'll call him. Dude's on there. on every episode, giving these shout outs to these dry food businesses or freeze dried food businesses, that he knows that his subscribers, they're going to waste their money on it and then they're going to never eat the food because it's bad, right? The food tastes like garbage. I mean, hey, you're welcome. You're welcome to say that, Chris. But for those of us that looked into it further than you, I disagree with that. But you're welcome to your own opinion. And that's what separates me from a lot of people, right? Other people, will block you and talk shit about you for having different opinions. But me, hell, I'll sit there and say, hey, look, if you want to believe that, you believe that. Hey, as the saying goes, if that's what floats your boat, then you believe it. So hey, I'm cool like that. Unlike some other people. Alfred Gree said, "Do as they will." Aleister Crowley. Yeah, yeah, that's what a lot of people out here are, right? They believe in that "do as thou will," Aleister Crowley doctrine. It's ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous. You would think people are smarter enough. You would think a lot of people out here would be smarter enough to think for themselves out here. Like, what? It's like, well, does Jesus really want me to like go around and do these evil things when he literally was on earth and taught, to do these righteous things? I don't see how anybody could conclude that Jesus was okay with going around and stealing from your neighbor. It's like, well, whatever happened to when they said to love your neighbor and treat others kindly? Whatever happened to that? Got dummies out here, even among Israelite camps, would be like, oh, Romans 13, obey the government. That's God's minister. It's like, well, dumbass, if you read it, literally read verse 4, it says that this is the God's minister to you for good. Wait, God's minister for good? So you guys mean to tell me that this government is God's minister for good, but yet they're literally killing the planet and everything on it? I mean, come on, you guys just have cognitive dissonance and reading disabilities. That's basically what a lot of these guys have out here. Clearly, when you read it, it gives it away who it's talking about. Romans 13, right? A minister is a leader over a congregation, right? That he's a minister of God to us for good. Yeah, that's a minister over a congregation. That's what Romans 13, starting at the top, is talking about. Leaders over congregations. Like, say, for instance, some people who are stupid that follow Perryism, Perry Green would be their minister. So that's what you would go by. People that follow, like, say, for instance, Stephen Anderson, he would be their minister because if they're part of his congregation, just for a couple examples. Here, bear with me for a second. All right, let me see. Yeah, look, I like how Chris is here. He said, cool, man. Glad you have an open mind. I may be wrong. Yeah, and Chris sounds like a respectable person, right? Now, I think Chris is wrong with what he said, but he said definitely sounds like a reasonable, open minded person. So again, that's a person I can respect. Matter of fact, earlier I got a comment on one of my flat earth videos by somebody who said, "Hey, look, I'm not a flat earther, but I do acknowledge that there's certainly some weird things going on with the heliocentric model." So you guys in the comments, you shouldn't be coming after, this Nathan guy because you guys, don't acknowledge that there are some weird things going on with this heliocentric stuff. So again, I was like, yeah, I respect that guy, even though he's not a flat earther, he still believes in the globe, but he acknowledges that there's certainly some weird things going on that he said he'll further look into in the future. So guys like that, they're respectable. Dummies out here will be like, oh, well, this is true and everything else is wrong. Then you ask them, well, how do you know that? Like people out here that just believe in the globe because of indoctrination, when you start questioning them, you find out that they don't really know what's going on. Like a lot of people don't even know the very basics of the basics about the globe. Like seriously, if you ask people out there, what is the circumference of Earth? Like if you start here walking straight in one direction and come back up around, like how far is that? People don't know. It's 24,900 and some miles in circumference. Then you ask, well, what is the speed of the Earth? Like how fast is Earth spinning? People don't know that. How fast is Earth spinning around the sun, supposedly? 66,000 miles an hour. People don't know that. How many planets are in the galaxy? People don't know that. Shit, people couldn't even name the planets in order, right? Starting at the sun, going, what is it, 8, 9 out? People couldn't even name them in order. So again, people try to act smart, but yet they don't even know the very basics of the things they believe. Like, let me give you a great example. Like, when you ever watch some of these flat Earth versus globe Earth discussions, people always bring up, well, like, what is under the Earth then? If the Earth is flat, like, what's under the Earth? But they don't understand, even from their model, they don't know what's under it. Because even from the heliocentric model, they claim, like, if you go to school, they show you, like, the Earth opened and all the layers under it, and then the molten magma core or whatever. It's like, but how the hell do you know? Because the only distance humans ever got into the Earth is 8 miles down. There's something called the Kola Super Deep Borehole that was dug by the Soviet Union that only made it down 8 miles, because then the machinery couldn't function because of how hot it was at that level, right? The machinery can't properly work. So they had to stop the project at 8 miles. So no human has ever went beyond 8 miles. And technically, the drill went down that far. No human actually walked down there. It's too hot for you down there. It was like, what, 300 degrees, if not more? The drill went down there, right? So the deepest man-made object that went down into the Earth is 8 miles down, right? The drill went 8 miles, and then it had to stop due to the difficulties, right? So even if the Earth was globe, flat, concave, inside joke, right, making fun of Samuel Owen, right? If the Earth was flat, concave, or globe, nobody knows what's down under the Earth. That's speculation, because nobody ever been there. But the Globers think they got you with that question, but yet their dumbass doesn't even know that from their own model, nobody's ever been there. It's really funny if you think about it. Well, Chris, there's some things, not to burst your bubble or nothing, but there's some things that you would consider common law that the Bible would not agree with. Like, let me give you an example. You think it's wrong to own slaves, right? But did you know that the Bible has rules about how when the Israelites conquered other nations, they were allowed to take people as servants against their will? Did you know that? It's in the law, bro. Let me see. But anyway, I'm gonna have to call that the video there. It's been 2 hours. I hope everybody found that entertaining and educational. If anybody made it to the end, put hashtag water, because it got waves on the screen there. If anybody made it to the end, put hashtag water. Thanks everybody for stopping by.